Manga-Waido.
My name is Yuzuki Yamashita. My mother passed away early after she gave birth to me, and my father took care of me alone. We rarely met our relatives, except for my mother's little brother. In other words, my uncle.
I'm sorry to trouble you again. Nah, don't worry.
My uncle was always injured, and I often helped treat his injuries. My father later told me that he used to be part of the Yakuza. My father was a very kind person. He was always busy with work and always worked until late, but knowing that he worked hard for me, I was able to endure it. And I thought that we would stay together forever. But when I was 10 years old... Dad! My father suddenly fainted, and he soon passed away. My mother's parents have already passed, and my father's parents lived in the far countryside. They needed someone to look after them, so they were in no condition to take care of me. So I had to move in with my relatives who I've never even heard of. You're all alone at such a young age. I feel sorry for you. They always say the same thing at first. But soon I'll end up being an outsider in the family, and I had to move houses one after another. 3 years after my father passed away.
You heard what happened. You'll be moving in with me starting today. Come with me.
Thank you. When there were no longer any relatives left who I can depend on, I had to move in with my uncle. He'll probably start treating me like trouble soon enough.
We're here. Come in.
I was a bit surprised when we arrived. I was scared about what kind of dangerous business he might have. But it turns out he owned a small Western restaurant. I wonder if he got to leave the Yakuza. Like this, my life with my uncle began. But my uncle would always be at the restaurant.
I'll be working at my restaurant, so don't interrupt me, kiddo.
I ended up being all alone again. My life with my uncle wasn't going well. Especially when I was at home. We would fight all the time and I was having enough.
Hey! Line up your shoes properly! Study harder! You got bad grades on the last test!
Gosh, he's so annoying and noisy. I was starting to hate my uncle. When a few days passed like that, I don't want to go home. I'll be alone even if I do go home. Even if my uncle comes home, the only thing he'll do is complain. Back then, I would wander around until late at night. I spent time at the park or just wandering around my neighborhood every day and waited for the time to pass. But that day, I was walking down a street I wasn't familiar with, and while I zoned off, I had entered the night city with bright neon lights. Oh no, I ended up coming to the part of town I don't know.
Ow!
Oops, I'm sorry.
Where are you looking? Ooh, you're cute.
No! Oh, I'm scared. Someone help me.
Hey, what are you doing?
It's nothing, sir.
That was close.
Yuzuki!
When I was talking to the officer at the police station, my uncle appeared looking panicked. After he talked with the officer for a while, he jogged towards me.
We're going home. What were you doing there?
It's none of your business. You're too busy working at your restaurant to pay any attention to me anyways.
What can I do? It's my job. Stay at home and be a good girl.
What the hell? Don't act like a dad just when you have to.
Huh?
I know you let me move in with you because you had no other choice. I don't need any parents.
Stop it! I'm sorry I yelled, but I never did it because I thought that was my only choice.
You're lying.
It's not a lie. Ugh. The way you're so stubborn looks exactly like me when I was younger. Well, that's why I let you move in with me, though.
What do you mean?
My parents, your grandparents, had a laissez-faire mindset. They barely took enough care of me.
It was true that he often visited our house, and I've never heard him talk about my grandparents.
And I used to wander around in the night like you, and I soon started to hang out with gangs. I was rough. Very rough. And after I did all kinds of bad things, I ended up being a Yakuza. Your dad was a good person, so I bet he took great care of you. I told you that you were exactly like me, but you have a kind heart. You're kind and can think about how others feel. So you better not end up the same way I did.
But how come you let me move in with you just because we were in a similar situation?
It's not just that. Your father looked after me so much. A kiddo like you might not understand yet, but you have to return every favor.
I see.
You get it now? Then don't make me so worried. If something happens to you, how am I supposed to face your dad again?
Yes, I'm sorry. Since then, I stopped wandering around in the night. My uncle also seemed to regret leaving me all alone on the second floor, so he made me a special seat just for me. Whenever I feel lonely or wanted to talk to my uncle, I would quietly sit there and wait for the restaurant to close. Sometimes I would even help him work. When the restaurant only had regular customers, or at the time of day where there weren't many customers, I would talk to my uncle about what happened that day and eat my meals. I think I was able to remember after a long time how tasty food tasted when you eat it with someone else. By the way, I haven't seen you smoke for a while. Did you quit smoking?
Yep. You didn't like it, right?
You're kind.
Shut up! If you're done, go get your homework done!
He was blunt, but I was glad to realize that he was taking good care of me in his own way. A few years later, it was when I got into high school. Huh? Who is that? I saw a woman talking to my uncle in the restaurant on our regular day off. I'm moving far away soon, so I came to talk to you for the last time.
Talk about what?
Hey, do you think we can start over? Start over? Is she his ex?
It's too late to say that. I'm not capable of having a wife. You know that well from the times we spent together.
Right. You're right, I was crazy.
Good luck over there.
Thanks. Goodbye. Stay healthy. I thought I overheard something I wasn't supposed to, so I quietly left the scene. That night, I was debating whether I should ask my uncle about that woman, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And when I headed to the sink before I went to sleep... Huh? What's he doing? It looked like he was looking at an old album. Oh, this person. She's the woman who visited the restaurant this afternoon, right?
You saw her?
I'm sorry, she just happened to be there when I went downstairs.
She's Rie, and she's my ex-wife.
You were married?
For a short time, long ago. At the beginning, we started this restaurant together. After that, I had to divorce her because I was stupid. I don't know why, but she wants us to get back together now.
Why did you reject her? You should have just started over again. Or is it because I'm here?
It's not that. It's just that marriage isn't my thing.
But...
A kiddo like you doesn't have to worry about that stuff. Go to sleep.
He didn't tell me anything after that, no matter what I asked. He still has feelings for his ex-wife. I was interfering with my uncle's happiness. After I realized that, I decided to get a job after I graduate high school so I can start supporting myself on my own as soon as possible. One day, my uncle found the printout about my future paths distributed at school.
You're getting a job? Is there anything you want to do?
Not really. I didn't have anything I was interested in particular. I just didn't want to be in his way.
Then just go to university. I had a hard time as a middle school graduate.
But the money...
You're worried about that? There are plenty of ways to do something about it.
There was no way that was true. Living with him, it was clear that he was struggling to maintain his business. Uncle, he always prioritizes me before himself. I ended up being persuaded by my uncle and went to a university nearby. Of course, I applied for the scholarship, and I started working part-time at a restaurant. I learned how hard it was to make money, and also how challenging my uncle's job was. But it wasn't all bad. I found myself a boyfriend at the restaurant where I worked part-time. His name is Daiki Takibana. He was so calm and mature, I couldn't believe he was the same age as me. When I told my uncle that I had a boyfriend, he somehow looked sad and he smiled.
I see. Good for you.
That's the only thing he said. How about you, Uncle? Are you not seeing anyone?
What are you saying? Just forget about my love life.
But his album was full of race photos. I know that he still looks back on those photos sometimes with a loving expression. It's weird how they separated, although they're still in love. I want them to be happy again. I finally became a full-grown adult. I had more time, and I was also more emotionally available, so I tried to look for Ray myself. But no matter where I looked in the house, I couldn't find any helpful hints.
Then how about you contact an investigation firm?
Right, good idea. I decided to hire a detective following his advice. I told the detective everything I knew about her, and I waited for about a month. Then a surprising truth was revealed. It turns out that Ray had come back to our neighborhood. She used to be abroad, but now she lived with her parents. After we exchanged letters for a while, I finally got to meet her in person. Would you like to meet my uncle again? Even if I did go see him, it wouldn't change anything. That's not true. He still has your photos and cherishes them. He looks at you in the photo every day. Uh-huh. I think I succeeded in moving her emotions a little. One day, the incident happened. Uncle, it's an emergency! This...
Oh, what?
Surprisingly, his restaurant was going viral on social media. I was in charge of the social media accounts for my uncle, who wasn't so good with technology. But I was actually just posting photos of new menus and what it looked like in the restaurant. Looks like a famous gourmet influencer spread it across social media. From the next day, the customers greatly increased and we got really busy. Excuse me.
Yes, I'm coming!
Thank you. It was impossible to serve all these customers with just me and a few other part-time workers. Oh no, we don't have enough hands. At this rate, we'll lose our precious customers. At that moment, when I thought I didn't have any time to think about Ray's reunion, I have an idea. The next day, although it was still before opening our restaurant hours, a long line had formed in front of the restaurant.
Oh gosh.
I'll help.
Rie, why are you here?
I called her.
What?
You better thank Yuzuki. Okay, let's open the restaurant. I'll show you my serving skills after a long time.
That was completely unnecessary.
Ray's serving skills were no joke, as she mentioned. Orders coming in. 1 demi-glazed steak, 1 minced meat cutlet.
Okie dokie.
They both look like they're having so much fun. Their teamwork was great, and we successfully got through our busy days. Half a year later, they got back together again, and happiness also came my way. When I was 26, Daiki proposed to me. I was so happy, I wanted to marry him as soon as possible. But my uncle and Ray were still unmarried. Uncle, are you not gonna marry Ray?
Soon. After you become independent.
He always prioritizes me. I knew that nothing would make him change his decision when he was acting like this. So I came up with a plan. This is me getting revenge on my uncle who would always prioritize me over his own pursuit of happiness. And about a year later, it was the day of my wedding with Daiki. As everyone celebrated, the ceremony proceeded. And it was finally time for me to read out loud my letter from my uncle. Dear Uncle Genichino, I've been very happy since I moved in with you 13 years ago. I was alone, not being able to fit into any of my relatives' families. Thank you for being my family. There was a time when you got really mad at me for doing something bad just after we became a family. I was glad to know that there was someone who would be mad at me out of worry. Since then, you continued to take good care of me subtly from the kitchen. You also silently looked after me throughout the night when I got sick. I love how you're a bit awkward but have a kind heart. I will make a happy family with Daiki from now on. But I still have something left to do. It's about you. I need you to be happy in return of how much happiness you've given me. You better get ready. From your daughter, Yuzuki.
Yuzuki!
I saw him cry for the first time. Seeing him cry, I also cried, although I was in front of a crowd.
You're such a good girl. Congratulations. You be happy, okay?
Yes, thank you. It's going according to my plan. A week later...
Gosh, why would you plan something so big for a middle-aged man and woman?
Get over it. Hurry up and get dressed. Today was the day of my uncle and Ray's wedding. Yes, this was my plan to get revenge. When I got to know that he was trying to procrastinate his marriage, I came up with an idea to forcibly hold their wedding. According to what Ray told me, when they got married for the first time, they didn't have a ceremony. So I asked Daiki and Ray to plan for a small photo wedding and banquet. What would you like to wear, Ray? Genichiro brought me a pink dress like this once before, so maybe I'll go with the same color. Ah, that's so romantic.
Yuzuki, you're enjoying this too much.
It was so fun planning the event, and according to Daiki, I was the one who looked the most excited in the process. And... you both look great! Thank you, Yuzuki.
Thanks. I'm a lucky guy.
Say cheese.
A new photo was added to my uncle's album. Now he looks at those photos every day with Ray. And my plan to get revenge ended right there.